I'm Kylie. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a print rotation in a collar and a lapel. Now, I've got two jackets exactly the same, except for the rotation of the print in the collar, okay, or the swatch in the collar. So you can apply this method that I'm teaching today to any fill that you decide to use that has an obvious direction, whether it's a seamless texture swatch or a repeat swatch that you've created in Illustrator, or a JPEG that you have dropped in. Anything that has a direction, any print or texture that has a direction, you can apply this method to. So if you look at the garment on the left hand side, you'll notice that the check in this case runs in the same direction from the collar running right through to the lapel. You see, you notice there is no difference between the collar and the lapel, whereas on the right hand side you see the check is actually running in that direction on the lapel, and it's actually running in that direction on the collar. And if you just take a moment to look at the difference between the two, you'll notice, you should notice, it should become quite apparent right now that there is a different rotation in the collar to the lapel on this right hand garment. And I'm going to show you how to achieve this. Based on the scenario that you have already created a beautiful jacket drawing and you simply need to do a modification, let's just say this one is a solid color, and you simply need to do your jacket in a print or a weave, and you need to show direction in the collar and the lapel, and so you don't want to do it again from scratch, but you're just going to modify the collar that you've drawn already on the left hand garment, and apply this rotation and swatch. So yeah, you've saved yourself a lot of time, and yeah, a lot of time really. So, and effort. So let me show you the difference between the reason why I'm able to make the check rotation on this side but not on this side, and then we'll get into drawing it. So if I just, with my direct select tool, I'm just going to drag that off to the side there. What you just notice here is that this collar and lapel is actually all the one shape. If I select it, it's all the one shape. And quite simply, that little line there was just a seam line that's drawn over the top. And if it was a solid color, then that is enough, and it's fine, because you wouldn't know, just having a seam, it just looks like they're two separate parts. But once you start getting into prints and you start having to make different print directions, it's a bit of a problem, because you can't actually, when I fill this shape with a swatch and then I rotate it, it makes a rotation to the whole shape. So you can't actually have a top part rotating differently to the bottom part if it's the one shape. So what you have to do, we are actually going to divide. We are going to divide the top from the bottom, and that's basically what I've done to create this. Let me drag them off here and here. I've simply used this side and made a division and regrouped them back together and placed it on the new garment. So, and then rotated, made the rotation in the different shapes. It's because they're different shapes, I can make a different rotation to the top, make a different one to the bottom one. I can rotate them separately, and I'll show you how to do that in a sec. So let me just backspace, undo, sorry, and I'll drag this one off to the right there. And I'm going to select that and ungroup, and I'm going to drag off one collar, make a copy and paste another one over to the far right there, and I'm going to work on this one first. So I'm going to ungroup. Drag off your stitching. All right, zoom in. So notice I'm actually going to I'm going to use my scissors tool to make an incision here. All right, so I'm going to make it here and here on this collar and lapel on this piece, here and here. So what I'll do is view, okay, so my guides, view guides show. Okay, I'm going to drag down from my rulers. If you can't see your rulers, Command R, hides your rulers and Command R shows your rulers. You can simply, just by clicking on your mouse, you drag down a guide to that point. And now, lovely, just drag off that seam line and you're going to basically make an incision there and there. So grab your scissors. You can see it's made a little, you can see little dots appeared, that little, what looks like an anchor, and it's just two separate anchors. You'll see in a sec. So make a little snip there and then make a snip there. And with your selection tool, just drag it off. Now, view, guides, hide guides. Just hiding them so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. So if I zoom out, you'll notice now I've got a top and bottom part. Now, you may have already noticed these are actually open shapes, so I want to close them up. So go to your pen tool, and you can, if you hover over, you notice that that little anchor, what I'm going to do actually is select the line first, actually, just to play it safe. So select your line, grab your anchor, grab your pen, and hover. Make sure you've got your smart guides on because these will become handy. See that anchor there? It hovers over, it says anchor, so click in there, come down to there, it'll kind of snap in, you can feel it, and click in there. Perfect. So do the same here. Now it's okay with, now that I'm in my pen tool, it seems, yeah, I can hover over this bottom one. I don't have to select it. With my smart guides, I can hover over and just place my pen and click into that existing anchor and click down into that other one. And you can see now I've closed off my shape. So grab your selection tool and simply drag the top shape down over the bottom one. Lovely. Now what you notice is I'm not happy with this at the side. I want that to be aligned with the bottom line. So what I'm going to do is just simply pick it up with my mouse. I haven't released my mouse and I'm actually just going to drag it over. That is good enough. You can see it's not perfect, but it's really imperceptible. It's perfect as far as the eye will see for this purpose. So you might want to grab your stitching right now and place it back over the top. And you may need to just watch out. You don't want these little bits straying down the bottom. So you're still selected. You've still got your stitching selected. So just right arrow in a little bit until, hopefully, let me just scroll up. Yeah, and I'll just grab. Yeah, that looks good. So now select the whole lot and right click and group. And just place your collar and lapel over your shape, over your jacket. So you might actually need to lose your guides here for a minute, your smart guides, a bit of a pain in the butt. Yeah, so just make sure that you've placed it in the same, remember you want your this bit to be aligned. I can see that's poking out there, so you might have to zoom in and yeah, just place it on there like so. All right, cool. So now what I do is I can now note that there is still one piece, but this here is two separate pieces. So if I right click on there and ungroup it again, select the top part and right click and rotate, uncheck transform objects, because otherwise you're going to end up rotating the whole shape rather than just the pattern itself. So transform pattern means you're going to just rotate the pattern itself. So uncheck that. So you can just grab this with your mouse and you can, maybe make your rotation to the direction that is most appropriate for your garment according to your print. So I'm going to make my stripe going there. My stripe is, I don't want to get too into it, but basically if this garment was shown from the back, this stripe actually continues around the back, the collar, and the down stripes would line up with the back panel of the jacket. So you just got to get into the habit of reminding yourself about, and a lot of this is practice, about where the print directions lie within components on a garment and the purpose and reason for them. So anyway, I'm going to make it like that and go down to your, press OK, come down to your lapel and right click and transform, rotate. And yeah, same thing. Hopefully it's just defaulted to not having this box unchecked, and then just make your rotation. See, I'm just moving this with my mouse. And yeah, I want it to go out this way actually, because that's the correct rotation for the check in relation to the front body there. And I'll press OK. So yeah, and that is how you do it. And of course you want to save. And yeah, very good. So now the other way to do it, I'm going to show you the other way to do it, because sometimes there's another easier way. It's just marginally easier, but working on the principle that you are quite happy to have your seam is changed to there. Okay, so if your seam is changed to there or there, okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this existing line that I've got, and I'm going to actually end up making a division using my Pathfinder tool. I'm going to divide the top area from the bottom area in just basically two steps, I think. So let me just drag out with my direct select tool that line there, that seam line. And I'm going to drag that out through there like that, and that one running right through the center of that corner. So to use the Pathfinder and the division function correctly, you need to, as far as I know, you need to really, you might need to ungroup first. Yeah, ungroup your objects first. And what you want to do, I'll just drag the stitching off as well. So yeah, you need to make sure that the line that you've drawn, this is going to be the division line. This is the line that cuts the top from the bottom. So if you choose to do this method, you've got to make sure that the left of the line extends past the shape, it extends out past, and the right side of the line extends out past the shape on the right side. So if you do this, it's not going to make the division properly, okay? So you need to extend your line out to the left and right sides of your underlying shape. Then all that you need to do is select both of them, go to your Pathfinder and divide. So when you divide, you'll notice if I just deselect, click on my artboard and I got this, you go, oh my God, it hasn't happened. What's going on? But it has. It's just when you do the division function, it groups your objects. So if you right clicking and ungroup and then go back to your yeah, you'll see that it's made the division quite successfully. So I'm going to just group them back up. I just wanted to show you that, and you may not need to ungroup if you've made a really nice, division, but you might want to check it. So yeah, you want to check it. So anyway, go back, get your stitching, place it over the top. All right, right click and bring it's, you notice that the stitching is actually sitting on behind the shapes now. So you need to arrange and bring them to the front so that it sits on the top. And once again, do I need to right arrow over? You don't want any stitching sitting outside of your shape. Perfect. And now select them all and right click and group. And yeah, I'll bring it over to the other side. So what I'll do is I'll drag that one off and I will right click and rotate. No, sorry, right click and reflect. Right click and reflect. Yeah, okay. And I'll just drag it over there and make those rotations again. So I'll show you just to repeat that action. So we made two different methods to creating the division between the upper and the lower part, the collar and the lapel, and you can see the seam lines are in different positions as well. This is a new seam line. So if I right click, ungroup to do your rotation, so right click, I'm going to show you how to copy the rotation from the other side now. So right click, actually just grab your eyedropper. So select the object you want to copy, which is this. Select the object you want to paste into and select the rotation on the other side. So click, and then all you need to do is right click, transform and reflect. And uncheck that box and press OK. And it's actually copied the rotation you've made on the right and then reflected it, because don't forget the left and the right are reflections of each other. So go down to your bottom one, click on it, and using your selection tool, and go to transform. Oh God, sorry. Click on it and just select it. Sorry, go to your eyedropper the right side in, and right click, transform, reflect, and OK. So there, it's a kind of a little bit quicker than making the rotation, and that way from scratch, and that way you've got the precise rotation that you used on the right side, and you've applied it to the left, and you've just reflected it. So it's exactly the same, because they need to mirror each other, don't forget. So yes, there you have it. You've got a, you know now how to divide an existing collar and lapel by two different methods, and to apply rotations in the lapel and the collar. Okay. Thank you for your attention, and I'll see you next time.